So as you can imagine, I get asked 2 questions everywhere I go, over and over and over. And so I'm going to answer them today because a couple people already asked me. The first question is, what's it like to work for Oprah? So I'll tackle that head on right out of the gate. If you watch the show, you will already have a sense of it. She's just like that. Wonderfully human, incredibly gifted, compassionate, wise, and very, very funny. Not only has Oprah been my boss for almost 16 years, Oprah has been for me what she's been for millions of people around the world, my greatest teacher. She has led me by the hand through lesson after lesson, willing me, pushing me to see the universe through different eyes, anchoring a deep belief that miracle after miracle lines up for us all, over and over again. She's taught me that there are no accidents, that our lives are literally speaking to us at every moment, actually whispering to us, come this way, go left, turn right. And when we quiet the noise of the outside world enough to hear that whisper, we'll be right where we are supposed to be, at the right time, doing what we are supposed to do. Synchronicity, divine order, alignment, the magic seeds that lead to a life fulfilled by purpose and meaning, the only kind of life worth living. I know that is true for me, as it is for you. The next question I get asked most often is, what did you do to get this job? Well, I'm sorry to say it is not the prettiest of stories, as my family can attest to, especially not at the beginning. I took the long road to get this fantastical career I have today. And when I say long road, I do not exaggerate. I didn't major in TV. It never even crossed my mind. I began my own journey in pre-med for about 15 minutes, then quickly realized that math for biological sciences was going to take me out. I switched to a marketing degree so that I wouldn't end up penniless on the streets. To make matters worse, I had no time in my busy social schedule to interview during my senior year at Iowa. To test the waters, possibility, that wasn't for me. Instead, I elected to wing it. And here is how that story played itself out for many, many ego-battering years. I headed to Dallas, Texas, the 80s land of opportunity, with about $50 of leftover graduation money, and no job of any kind. If I were to dive into the finer points of those years, you'd be here for hours. So I'll just share some highlights. First, I took whatever job I could get, typing legal descriptions at a title company. As my fingers hunted and pecked across those keys, I briefly considered law school. But let that dream die when I realized I'd have to work during the day and go to school at night. I didn't love the law quite that much. Then through word of mouth, I got a job at a toy store chain. My new retail management career. Just about the time that hordes of crazed moms were flirting with jail time for near criminal behavior in securing Cabbage Patch dolls for Christmas. I remember thinking one night before Christmas Eve, this cannot be my life, as I iced a bruised cheek after being bashed in the face by a purse. Finally, an early career Waterloo. I moved on to an international Dallas-based company known for fantastic employee benefits and their red and white smocks. My fellow managerial trainees and I worked the register, made coffee, and mopped the floors, all the while praying we'd be promoted to corporate headquarters at the earliest opportunity, to the fanciest executive offices we imagined awaiting us there. Funny thing is, when the big promotion came, I burst into tears, screaming, "No, God, please, no." All those sleepless nights, hosing down 7-Eleven parking lots, and I was no closer to the life of purpose and meaning that I subconsciously yearned for. I could dismantle a Slurpee machine according to manufacturer protocol. Had even delivered a baby in a parking lot, a particular point of pride. I was on the perfect path for someone else, but it wasn't for me. So I left Texas and moved back to Chicago, Lake Villa, to mom and dad's with my tail between my legs. The sick to their stomachs, worried expressions on their faces told me all I needed to know about the magnitude of my failure. I was jobless, broke, depressed, humiliated. I remember literally saying out loud to the universe and anyone else who might listen, help me, help me. The perfect state of mind and heart for a miracle, and I got one. My best friend's fiance invited me to a lunch at a swanky downtown restaurant. He was a big-time advertising agency producer who had changed the trajectory of my life. He listened without judgment to my tale of woe. I was a mess, and he asked me, what do you want to do? I want to do what you do. To this day, I don't know why I said it, but there was a knowing. And for the first time, I was in touch with that inner voice, that yearning for meaning. Perry hired me to type for him and follow him around to learn. I was thrilled beyond reason. I made an entry-level salary, half of what I used to make, but I was giddy with joy. Next thing you know, I was an agency producer, working on my skills, writing, shooting, editing, crafting a message, telling stories. 30-second ones, but they were still stories. All of it would one day serve me very well, but still I knew I wasn't quite there yet. While I was producing television commercials, I sent a VHS of my work to Harpo Studios, home of the Oprah Winfrey Show. It was, admittedly, a very bold move, considering I had absolutely no broadcast television show experience. The next week, I got a call from the head of their promotions department saying quite definitively, you are not what we are looking for. It was a blow. Hi, honey. That's how I felt. It was a blow. I took to my bed. Working with Oprah, putting valuable messages out into the world felt so right. It seemed so perfect. But clearly, it was not meant to be. I soldiered on, producing shampoo commercials and ham commercials, but something important was missing for me, that sense of purpose. One night over cocktails with one of my oldest friends, she asked the question, what do you want? And I blurted out once more, I want to work for Oprah. My friend sensed my desperation and began grasping at straws. Why don't you put yourself in a box and mail yourself there? We went on to discuss the merits of using stunts to gain employment and ended the night wistfully. In the end, I would not mail myself to Oprah, and I certainly wouldn't send my resume in again. I didn't need to be told no twice. If I was ever to work with Oprah, the universe was going to have to pull off quite a trick. I would need another miracle. And 1 week later, this is what happened for real. And it is an absolute true story. After years of my tape and resume laying in the dust in some forgotten closet, a new person arrived at Harpo, cleaned out that closet, looked at it, and left another message on my answering machine. How soon can we hire you? Wow. I know, it's crazy. I tell you that story as my own testimony, that when you ask the world to help you add meaning to your life, those kinds of miracles are possible. And every day since that day 16 years ago, I make it my mission to stay quiet enough in all the frantic chaos that comes along with making a television show to listen to the whisper. What am I supposed to be doing? What should we be producing? How will this make a difference in people's lives? I spend my time at work now telling stories, and I have a pivotal role in what stories we tell. It's an awesome responsibility, and I never take it lightly. As you may know, you might have heard, we are in the waning moments of the Oprah show, the end of a 25-year run, the farewell season. In fact, as of today, there are 28 shows left. And you can imagine how carefully Oprah is choosing those final hours. Every day it's something different, and it's never what it appears to be. When we make a dream come true, it isn't really about a trip to Australia with 300 viewers. It's about the energy of hope, that we live in a world of limitless possibility, where wonderful things can still happen when you least expect it. When we tell stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things for others, it reminds us that every life is presented with heroic opportunities. We are given chance after chance to rise up in courage and bless this world with grace. That is as true for me as it is for everyone in this room. As Joyce mentioned just 2 days ago, this past Friday, the Oprah show audience met a 19-year-old young man named Clayton. He's darling, really. Soft-spoken, wise beyond his years, possessing a deep, deep sense of compassion. What we would really call a great kid. He sat on stage with Oprah in his brand new blue button-down shirt and a navy tie. You could tell he wanted to make a good impression and that this was a very important moment for him. Now, Clayton had never actually been on the show, but many years ago we told his story. We couldn't show his picture back then or even say his name. He was 6 years old at the time and had just been rescued from a life of torture. So on Friday, Oprah stepped on the stage and recounted how his little body had been wrapped in chicken wire and how he'd been locked in a small closet for months on end. When he'd cry, his father and stepmother would pour dishwashing liquid down his throat. We had the police tapes of his little 6-year-old voice describing those dark days of starvation and hopelessness. He thought he must be a really bad little boy to be treated that way. He must have done something very, very wrong. He sounded like a little Who from Whoville. We also had the police photos of the scars cut under his tiny armpits from the wires. There is no doubt in my mind that little Clayton would have died of a broken body and a broken heart, if not for one person, just one. And as Oprah has said hundreds upon hundreds of times on our show, one is all it takes. Deputy Todd Pate, just 4 years into the job, had a hunch, a gut feeling despite reports to the contrary that this little boy was in serious danger. And Deputy Pate wouldn't give up until he got that child out of the nightmare and into safety. We reunited them on the show Friday. 19-year-old Clayton and his hero rescuer, now known as Sheriff Pate. Two human souls whose paths crossed exactly at the right time. One was saved, little Clayton, and the other, Todd Pate, said this about his role: if I never accomplish anything else in my life, I will have accomplished this. As I sat in the control room while we taped that show, I heard those words and I thought to myself, me too. If Oprah and I never get the chance to tell another story, we told this one. It's a great story. Great in the grandest, most meaningful sense. So many layers, so many lessons, and in the end, so much hope. On Friday, 7 million people heard that story. By the time everyone catches up with their TiVo and DVRs, it'll be well over 10, heading into 15 million. By the time that show reaches all of our international stations, as many as 20 million people, maybe 40, around the world will know Clayton and Officer Todd Pate on a first-name basis. I can't tell you how that story will specifically ripple out across the planet, but I have read enough viewer email to say with certainty, there will be parents in every country who will value their children more deeply. Children who will tell a trusted adult that they are being hurt. Neighbors who will listen to their instincts that a kid on their block is in real trouble and make a call. And millions of potential heroes even more ready to meet their moment when it comes. Everyone is called, every single one of us. Unlike me, for many in this room, the path to a life filled with meaning and purpose was truer, straighter, and more direct. For the women and men who devote their lives to One Hope United, the answer to life's great question, what am I really here to do, begins and ends with the value, protection, and safety of the smallest and most defenseless among us, children. This work is not for the faint of heart. It is a hero's path, and we all become more heroic by standing with them today and adding our voices to the chorus. Your presence here, your commitment to One Hope United, your passion for the little ones and their families, your very decision to be here today is just one more ingredient in the mystical recipe of how a human heart fulfills its destiny. I've learned many things from Oprah. I find myself in a unique, once-in-a-lifetime kind of classroom, where every single day I am required by my teacher to dig deeper to become the best of myself, where I am required to make all decisions based on intention, where I'm expected to be open to miracles, and personally instructed in heroic action. Day after day, those lessons keep coming, and all of those lessons revolve around love, beginning with its true nature. Love is not sentimentality, Oprah teaches, or a formulaic Hollywood plotline. It is the energy that turns this earth, the most powerful force that exists for transformation. It is the solution to every battered child's pain, the healing of every wounded family, the engine behind every good thing that happens in Lake County, in Illinois, America, and every corner of this planet. Make no mistake about it. One Hope United, this event today, and even your life itself is about very serious business, the business of love. And if you've ever wondered why you are here, what your real purpose is, what you're supposed to do with this gift we call life, you need look no further than that. It is no accident that we are here today. Love made that happen. Now, it's our job to be ready for where love is going to lead us next. Thanks, everybody.